Some runways give pilots space to correct a mistake. These runways do not give that luxury. Around the world, there are airports where planes land on beaches, fly between mountains, touch down on frozen ocean, cross public roads, or aim for runways so short that a late touchdown can become a disaster. Today we're counting down the top 9 most dangerous runways pilots fear. Stay until number 1, because the final runway is so unforgiving that pilots either land successfully or they do not get a second chance. Before we begin, tell us in the comments which scares you more, a cliff runway, or perhaps a mountain approach, or landing on frozen ice. Number 9. Princess Juliana International Airport, St. Maarten. At Princess Juliana Airport, the runway is not the only attraction. The beach at the end of it may be even more famous. On the Caribbean island of St. Maarten, turquoise water meets white sand at Maho Beach. Tourists stand with cameras pointed toward the sky. Then, suddenly, a jet appears low over the ocean, dropping toward the runway just beyond the beach. For a few seconds, the aircraft seems close enough to touch. People duck, engines roar, sand lifts from the ground, and the plane crosses overhead only moments before its wheels meet the runway. Princess Juliana International Airport is dangerous because of geography. The runway begins extremely close to Maho Beach, and aircraft approaching from the sea must come in very low. Pilots do this not for drama, but because the runway and terrain leave limited options. The runway is long enough for many commercial aircraft, but the approach has little room for casual error. Pilots must manage altitude, speed, and touchdown point with precision. Too high, and they risk landing too far down the runway. Too low, and the approach becomes dangerous for people near the airport perimeter. The danger is not only during landing. During takeoff, jet blast from large aircraft can blast across the road and fence near the beach. Some tourists have tried to hold onto the fence during takeoff, a reckless practice known as fence surfing. The force can be violent. Warning signs exist for a reason. For tourists, this airport became famous because of the thrill, giant jets passing just above their heads. For pilots, it is a serious operation where spectacle is only a side effect of difficult geography. The runway shows how aviation can become a tourist attraction without ever becoming less dangerous. But at least Princess Juliana has a real runway. The next airport has something much stranger, a public road crossing directly over the runway. From a Caribbean beach where jets fly low over tourists, we travel to Gibraltar, where airplanes and cars share the same strip of pavement. Number 8. Gibraltar Airport, Gibraltar. At Gibraltar Airport, the runway crosses everyday life in the most literal way possible. Imagine driving toward a border crossing when traffic lights suddenly stop the road. Barriers come down, people wait in cars, buses, and on foot. Then an aircraft rolls across the road directly in front of them. A plane just landed where traffic was moving minutes before. The Rock of Gibraltar rises nearby, massive and imposing, while the runway stretches between sea and city like a strip of concrete squeezed into a place that barely had room for it. Gibraltar Airport is famous because Winston Churchill Avenue, a public road, crosses the runway. When planes land or take off, road traffic stops. When the aircraft has cleared, the road opens again. Few airports blur the line between aviation and ordinary city traffic like this one. At Gibraltar, a commercial aircraft and a commuter vehicle can use the same physical surface within minutes of each other. That sounds almost impossible, but it has been part of the airport's identity for decades. For locals, the runway crossing is part of daily life. For visitors, it feels surreal. Most people never expect to be stopped at a traffic light because a jet is about to cross the road. For pilots and airport operators, though, it requires strict timing and discipline. A runway incursion here is not an abstract risk. The road makes aviation safety feel visible and immediate. But Gibraltar is strange because of traffic. The next runway is strange because twice a day, the ocean comes in and completely covers it. From Gibraltar's road-crossing runway, we fly north to Scotland, where an airport disappears under the tide. Number 7. Barra Airport, Scotland. Barra Airport is not near a beach. It is the beach. On the island of Barra, in Scotland's Outer Hebrides, the runway is a wide tidal beach. There is no asphalt stretching across the land. There are runway markers placed on sand, shell fragments, and a surface that changes with the sea. At low tide, the beach becomes an airport. At high tide, the Atlantic Ocean takes it back. Planes land where waves were moving hours earlier. Number 6. Madeira Airport, Portugal. Madeira Airport looks like an engineering solution. Pilots know it is still a fight with the wind. On the island of Madeira, the runway sits between mountains and the Atlantic Ocean. Part of it stretches over the sea, supported by huge concrete pillars. Aircraft approach along the coastline, with mountains close on one side and open water on the other. The plane may rock in crosswinds. Madeira Airport was difficult because of limited flat land. Engineers solved it by extending the runway over the ocean on a platform. Mountains create turbulence and wind shear. Many aircraft are seen rocking in crosswinds, then going around at the last moment. Which scares you most so far? The beach runway, the road crossing, or the windy Madeira? Drop your answer below. Number 5. Courchevel Altiport, France. Courchevel is not a runway you simply land on. It is a runway you commit to. High in the French Alps, near one of the world's famous ski resorts, a short runway sits among mountains and snow-covered slopes. It does not lie flat like a normal runway. It climbs uphill. A plane approaching Courchevel appears between peaks, descending toward a strip of pavement that looks too short for comfort. On landing, the aircraft touches down and rolls uphill, using gravity to help slow down. On takeoff, it rolls downhill toward the valley. The view is stunning. The margin is not. Courchevel Altiport is dangerous because it combines short runway length, mountain terrain, altitude, and its famous steep gradient. That slope helps aircraft stop during landing, but it also makes takeoff feel dramatic because the aircraft accelerates downhill. There is no simple go-around here. Pilots must be properly qualified and trained specifically for this location. The airfield is built around mountain flying skill, not standard commercial airport comfort. At Courchevel, commitment matters. This airport serves a glamorous ski destination, but the approach is anything but glamorous. Courchevel proves that even the most luxury destinations can still demand brutal aviation discipline. But Courchevel is still a prepared alpine runway. The next airport is surrounded by Himalayan mountains so high that only a small number of pilots are qualified to land there. From the French Alps, we travel east to Bhutan. Number 4. Paro Airport, Bhutan. At Paro Airport, pilots do not simply follow instruments. They fly through a mountain valley by sight. In Bhutan, steep green mountains rise around a narrow valley. Monasteries, rice fields, and prayer flags appear below. An aircraft descends between ridgelines, banking through turns as the runway appears late in the approach. Passengers may look out and see hillsides close enough to feel unreal. The final moments are beautiful, but tense. The aircraft aligns with the runway only after navigating through terrain that leaves little room for carelessness. Paro Airport is one of the most difficult airports because of its Himalayan location. Pilots must visually navigate through the valley and descend with great precision. Only specially trained and certified pilots are allowed to fly here. Paro demands visual judgment. If clouds fill the valley or visibility drops, flights are delayed or canceled. The runway may be there, but the mountain decides whether you can reach it. For Bhutan, Paro is a vital gateway. For pilots, landing here is a mark of rare skill. It feels like a reminder that machines help, but in places like Paro, the pilot's eyes, judgment, and calm hands matter deeply. But Paro at least has a paved runway in a valley. The next airstrip ends at a cliff, and aircraft take off by driving straight toward it. We move to Lesotho, where one runway looks like a dare carved into a mountain. Number 3. Matekane Airstrip, Lesotho. Matekane Airstrip has one of the most terrifying takeoffs in aviation. The runway ends, and then the mountain drops away. In the highlands of Lesotho, a dirt runway lies on top of a mountain. It is short, rough, and remote, At the far end, the ground simply disappears into a valley thousands of feet below. A small aircraft accelerates down the strip. Dust rises behind the wheels. The cliff edge gets closer. Then the plane reaches the end and seems to fall into open air before gaining enough speed to climb. For a moment, it looks like flying and falling are the same thing. The takeoff can look impossible because the aircraft leaves the runway before it is fully climbing. It makes it terrifying. Matekane Airstrip is extremely dangerous because of its short length and cliff-edge departure. Yet, it exists because remote communities in Lesotho are difficult to reach by road. Humanitarian and medical flights use it to connect isolated areas with essential services. The takeoff looks impossible because the terrain drops away so sharply. The aircraft can actually continue gaining airspeed in the open space beyond the cliff. It demands nerve, skill, and absolute precision from the pilots. But Matekane is a remote mountain strip. The next runway is commercial, famous, and so short that the ocean waits at both ends. From Lesotho's cliff edge, we fly to a tiny Caribbean island for one of the world's shortest commercial runways. Number 2. Juancho E. Yrausquin Airport, Saba. Saba Airport looks like someone built a runway where geography clearly said no. On the tiny island of Saba, a short strip of pavement sits on a flat shelf carved into a volcanic island. At both ends, cliffs fall toward the sea. The runway is surrounded by slopes, ocean, and almost no spare space. A small aircraft approaches over blue water, descends sharply, aligns with the strip, and touches down almost immediately after crossing the threshold. There is no long rollout. There is no comfortable buffer. Juancho E. Yrausquin Airport is famous for having one of the shortest commercial runways in the world. Its usable runway length is only around 400 meters, which limits operations to small, specialized aircraft. Jets cannot land here. Larger commercial aircraft cannot use it. Pilots must be specially trained and qualified. The approach requires precision, and the touchdown point matters immediately because there is very little runway to waste. Despite its extreme appearance, Saba Airport has had a strong safety reputation. That is not because the runway is easy. It is because the operation is highly specialized. The right aircraft, the right pilots, and respect for the environment. For the people of Saba, the airport is a lifeline. Saba proves that aviation can make impossible places reachable, but only when skill matches the risk. For passengers, landing there can feel unreal. One moment they are over the Caribbean, the next they are braking on a tiny runway. But even Saba, with cliffs at both ends, is not number one, because the final runway sits in the Himalayas, leads toward Everest, and gives pilots almost no second chance. For number 1, we go to Nepal, the gateway to the world's highest mountain. Number 1 is Lukla Airport, officially Tenzing Hillary Airport, often called the most dangerous airport in the world. Deep in the Himalayas of Nepal, a small runway sits on a mountainside like a gray scar carved into the slope. At one end, a rock wall rises. At the other, the runway drops away into a valley. Around it, mountains close in from every direction. An aircraft approaches through thin mountain air. The runway appears suddenly, small and steep. There is no long straight highway of concrete waiting below. There is only a short sloped strip, a wall at one end and a cliff at the other. Inside the cabin, passengers may be silent. Not because the view is not beautiful, because everyone understands this is not an ordinary landing. Lukla Airport is dangerous because it combines several unforgiving factors at once. High elevation, a very short runway, steep slope, surrounding terrain, unpredictable Himalayan weather, and no simple go-around procedure. The runway is only about 527 meters long and slopes uphill for landing. That slope helps aircraft slow down, but the design leaves very little margin. Aircraft land uphill toward a rock wall. Departures roll downhill toward a drop-off. Weather is another major threat. Clouds, fog, and wind can move through the valley quickly. Flights often operate in the morning because conditions may deteriorate later. When the weather closes in, travelers can be stranded for days. Lukla has seen multiple fatal accidents over the years, which is one reason its reputation is so serious. This is not danger as a marketing phrase. It is danger written into the airport's history. Pilots who fly here need special training, short field experience, and the discipline to say no when conditions are not right. At Lukla, confidence without caution is not bravery. It is stupidity. Lukla matters because it is the gateway to Everest. Thousands of trekkers, climbers, and guides rely on it to reach the Khumbu region. Without it, reaching the shadow of the highest mountain on Earth would require a much longer journey on foot. It exists because human ambition keeps pushing into places where comfort cannot follow. People fly into Lukla to reach Everest, and before Everest tests them, the runway does. Lukla earns the #1 spot because it has almost every fear in aviation compressed into one place. A short runway, a steep slope, a cliff, a wall, thin air, mountains, weather, and no forgiveness for careless decisions. For passengers, landing at Lukla can feel like the moment the normal world ends and the Himalayas take control. The plane touches down, brakes hard, climbs the slope, and stops before the rock wall. Then the doors open. Cold mountain air enters the cabin, and everyone realizes the adventure has only just begun. Lukla is not just a runway pilot's fear. It is a warning carved into the mountains. Up here, the mountain decides. Dangerous runways are terrifying because they expose the truth behind aviation. Most of the time, flying feels smooth, controlled, and ordinary. But in places like Barra, Madeira, Courchevel, Paro, Matekane, Saba, and Lukla, you can see how much skill is really involved. Pilots are reading wind, terrain, and timing in environments that offer no easy forgiveness. Which runway scared you the most? Would you rather land on a beach in Scotland, a cliff runway in Saba, an ice runway in Antarctica, or Lukla in Nepal? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoy documentary-style rankings about extreme places in aviation, subscribe for more. In the next video, we'll explore airports so strange they look impossible.